Well, hello, Internet, and welcome to my Peloton cycle review. In this video, I'm going to talk about the benefits of stationary bikes in general. I'm going to compare the Peloton, no doubt the Cadillac of stationary bikes, to other different stationary bike alternatives. I'm going to go over all the specs. I'm going to give you an overview of the different classes that are available, my results, my overall classes, and so forth. I can also talk about running versus stationary bikes and a whole bunch of other different things. So basically, buying a Peloton is completely out of character for me. I spend literally nothing on anything. One thing I do spend money on, though, is health. And specifically, the reason why I didn't have anything really to do with getting the Peloton bike. That was actually my wife that decided to get it for me. But I personally think it was a fantastic thing to get. This is basically my birthday, Christmas, and 15th anniversary present from my wife and my entire family. So the reason why stationary bikes are fantastic for you, I run, and you can actually see in the description if you want more information on my Strava and how much I exercise and so forth. It's down there if you want to look at it, as well as the information on the Peloton classes are also down there in the description. But basically, riding a stationary bike is the best form of best exercise for increasing your cardiovascular health, your overall leg strength, as well as it provides an excellent exercise for your abs as well as your obliques and so forth and so on. So it's a fantastic alternative to running, which is my main form of exercise. So that gives you a reason why you would want to use a stationary bike. Now, what I specifically was looking for with a stationary bike is, I don't know about everybody else, but when I buy something, I want to buy something that lasts. I want to buy something that I can count on for 5, maybe even 10 years. I want something that doesn't rust. I want something where the pedals, for example, aren't going to wiggle and wobble on me. I want a quality product. And the Peloton definitely fits in regards to that. Now, some people might find that they could take a little bit lesser of a bike and be perfectly happy with that. And in a minute, I'm going to talk about the alternative options that we have there. But first, what I want to do is go specifics into the specs of the Peloton bike itself. Now, this is the body of the Peloton bike. It is a powder-coated steel. It is extremely resistant to sweat. I have a Nordic Track treadmill in comparison that is not powder coated, and it is rust all over the place, even though I wipe it down constantly. This is the Flywheel. This is a 40-pound Flywheel. And the reason why having such a heavy flywheel is important is it's going to give you the ability to consistently move and not have to have the bike bouncing around. That's a Delta pedal, and those tires, or those shoes you see right there, also came with it. You can also see here a really nice cushy seat that is extremely comfortable and a place for weights. The weights also came with the Peloton bike, but that was part of a deal that I got. But basically, when I was get back to the Flywheel, is if you have a heavy flywheel, that's going to mean you're going to be able to really go at it when you're on the bike, and the bike isn't going to bounce around on you. And it's also going to feel like you're using a real bike. You can see right there, those are the number of on-demand classes. Almost 8,200 classes are available right now, and you can see just a whole ton of them. There are so many different instructors and so forth, and here's also Scenic Rides that are available to you. So, I mean, the Scenic Rides, when I first saw them, I thought, oh, this is going to be ridiculous and stupid. I have no interest in it. But after I did a couple of them, I was just like, I do them all the time now because it's a great way to relax. You can see all the different types of music that's available with all the classes. There's all the different types of rides you can take: beginner, low impact, rhythm, metrics, heart rate, power zones. I mean, it's just ridiculous. There's numerous different times. So if you only have 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, or if you have 120 minutes, there's a class at all those different time lengths. You can see a list of all the instructors, and a lot of these instructors, from what I gather, they've sort of been stolen from the best cycle studios. So, I mean, I've done 12 classes so far, and every instructor's been fantastic. Now, of course, I like the different ones. There's my name. I Am Bananas is my name on Peloton. And there I am making a grimace. And you can see there's my 12 rides. You can see the different achievements that I reached. And you can have this be, a Peloton can be used for people that are very competitive, or if you're not competitive. It doesn't matter. But if you are competitive, it's the place to be, because you're competing against real people live, and it is ridiculous. You can see there my output, the kilojoules, has improved ever since I got the Peloton, which means I'm getting results. I'm able to drive my heart rate, as you're going to see, through the roof on this, which I couldn't do without potentially hurting myself if I was running. And so, that's what I'm talking about and where a stationary bike really comes in. You can see all the statistics. Also has a heart rate monitor, which I didn't show. And you can see right here my overall output. Across that, you can see where I placed 6 out of, 5,000 people or something like that, which was ridiculously cool. But like I said, if you're not into that competition, you don't have to worry about it. Peloton doesn't force you to do that. And the instructors don't like scream at you, get going, or nothing like that. They're all pretty cool. You can see there my change in resistance, my change in speed, my distance. You can see how many calories I burned over the course of the ride and so forth and so on. And you can see there my max heart rate, 154. Getting your heart rate up that high, it's the health. If you want to be healthy, it's the way to get healthy. And that's why ultimately I love the bike, is because I'm a computer programmer. I sit at a desk all day. So without things like this or a treadmill, whenever it's 5 degrees outside, I would be out of shape. I would be ill. And ultimately, I love this bike because it allows me to be healthy. And being healthy is like the only thing I spend any money on. You can see there are the different instructors that I had so far. Everybody, I think, probably is going to like different instructors. I don't know. I on purpose tried to use the different instructors rather than Allie Love was my favorite so far. She's just fits my personality. She might rub other people the wrong way. I know that Cody's like a big guy that a lot of people like also as well. So, there's just an overview of some of the different classes. I'll provide a link also in the description where you can click and you can see how a class actually runs. It's basically just person on a cycling, and there's live DJs. It's really, really cool. And it's definitely something to look into if you're into it. And it's very easy. You can see my reflection. Very easy to set up Bluetooth. This is all Android. And there's my headphones, wireless headphones. It automatically connects to that. So really, really cool stuff, and real happy about it. But you might say to yourself, well, what about other stationary bikes? Because there's obviously cheaper alternatives, and there most definitely is. So I would say, based off of comparing the Peloton to other different alternatives, basically if you go with a sub $400 bike or a trainer, well, a trainer's just like a thing you clip onto the back of your back tire of your real bicycle and then go. That's like the cheapest way of doing this. And if you're into that, go with a trainer. These are the negatives though. With a trainer, you are going to shred your tires. Potentially. You could get really flat tires or use old tires, whatever. It's just up to you. Another thing is that's going to be friction based. So that is going to mean that it's not going to feel like you're riding on a road. Another issue is going to be, if you get a sub $400 spin bike or stationary bike, don't expect any support. I can tell you exactly, with the Peloton, I did need support because of the delivery company, not necessarily because of Peloton. And I can tell you, you hear about people buying expensive cars. I don't have an expensive car. I think I mentioned it earlier. I have like a 20-year-old car. I don't drive, so there's no reason for me to have a fancy car, okay? So basically, you talk about people that would have like really expensive cars and the level of support they receive. This is the first product I have ever purchased in my life, I can say for a fact, that I feel kind of special for having it. And it's ridiculous. If you call support, you get through almost immediately. And I have never dealt with a company where you get almost immediate telephone support. They answer the phone and they go out of their way to fix things. Same thing with email. If you send them an email, you're going to get a response, as long as it's during business hours, within an hour. Where do you get support like that? You are paying for the best with this. I mean, that's just simply the way that it works. So you might say to yourself, well, maybe that support doesn't matter to me. And rather than get a friction-based bike, I want to get, say, $1,000 stationary bike. What are going to be the issues with that? Your main issue is going to be your flywheel weight. And I can use the Nordic Track Grand Tour as an example of that. The Grand Tour flywheel is a 16-pound flywheel. That means that if you're going nuts, the bike's going to be going nuts also. And like I said before, if it's a light flywheel, it's not going to feel like a real bike. Another thing is you're going to have plastic everywhere. You're not going to have powder coated steel. You're going to have a potential bicycle that's going to rust. So if that's okay, then, and you don't, $1,000 for a bike sounds better for you, then go that route. But like I said, that these are just the different things you're giving up depending upon your different price points. So you might say, well, how about I go to a 1,500 or a 2,000 or, just a bike that is compared to a Peloton price-wise? What am I basically giving up? Well, I looked at those as well. Basically, for some reason, the screen on the Peloton, which I didn't even mention, is a 21-inch screen. It's huge. It is the only stationary bike that has any established time to it that has a screen that huge, and it does make a difference. It's very, very cool, and it's immersive whenever you have a screen that big. For some reason, the $1,500 and $2,000 spin bikes, stationary bikes that are out there, which is how much $2,000 is how much a Peloton cost. Before discounts, and I can also provide a discount code in the description. But basically, they have crappy screens. Like I'm talking grayscale screens. So they might be powder coated though and rust resistant, but basically you're giving up on the screen for basically the same price. So there's an overview of my experience with the Peloton. Hopefully that answers some questions that you might have, and I answer all my YouTube comments. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave those down in the comment section below, and hopefully this helped you in one way or another. Either way, I'm always happy to help, and like always, please leave your questions and comments below. Otherwise, till next time.